Hello there, and welcome to a continuation of a scenario where Operation Unthinkable was attempted. I don't know why I actually gave the Germans land. Oh, because they were East Germany. Right, okay. No, I'm starting to forget parts of the series, okay? So, without any further ado, let us jump straight in. The first event that will be taking place today will be in Turkey. Turkey will have some Soviet communist sympathizers rise up in the Soviet Union. Well, in the Soviet Union? No, in Turkey. The Soviet Union will then invade into Turkey, quickly securing the eastern side, and the communist blobs will continue to grow. Oh, wait, they did continue to grow. What am I on about? I completely forgot about. Yeah. But then the US and their troops arrive to try and stabilize out Turkey. The Soviets push deeper, and the communist pockets are starting to push out. All of the pockets have now joined in with the Soviet military that is now pushing through and fighting the Turkish military and the US's military. They will then push to about here, and a surrender treaty will be made. In this treaty, a Kurdish country will be formed, along with East Turkey. Russia will get a bit of Armenia, and the rest will become a US puppet state. And the next event that we will see happening is Italy invading. Oh, no, actually, it's not the next event. I'm very sorry. I completely forgot about this. Well, forgot that it was before that anyway. So, this purple thing, this represents that you have joined the Alliance of Non-Aligned Nations, which just doesn't quite sound right. But it's, basically, they will protect each other if they are invaded, but they won't help each other invade anything else. And they're basically designed to stop superpowers influencing into their country. Right? The leader will be South Africa, as they are the ones who came up with the alliance, hence the circle's colour. Yeah. The next thing that we see is Brazil creating a federation in in South America, and Colombia gaining all of Venezuela and Ecuador. I don't know why half of Venezuela's border is still here. Just gonna fix that. But yeah. And they will work together. They will then join this, what do you call it? The Alliance of Non-Aligned Nations. So, the next event that will be happening, is Italy will be invading Cyprus, Lebanon, Israel, or Palestine, depending on what one it was, and Syria. So, the Italians will quickly overrun both Cyprus and Lebanon. I will then start to push out from there, down Israel, and into Serbia? Into Syria. The Soviets will then push and finish off the south of Israel, leave, and will start to push into Syria, seeing this as an opportunity to expand their puppets. The Italians will then snake up the coast and finally defeat the Syrians and get rid of their coast. A communist uprising will then start in Syria, funded by the Chinese, and the Chinese will also fund a communist uprising in Iraq, so that they can get to the communist uprising in Syria. So, yeah. Then, the Soviets will start to push south, attacking the Syrian communist rebels, and successfully managing to flip one of their pockets. They will push further south here, and the Egyptians? I don't know why I always called them the Egyptians. The Italians will then push into Syria. I'm not doing well with brain today. Oh, I didn't talk about the Arabian Federation. Oh. So, yes, Saudi Arabia formed an Arabian Federation in a democratic way, and they started to invade into Iraq as well to try and preserve their freedom. The communist pockets began to grow and secured this here, crushing the Soviets' hopes of stopping China from power projecting into this region. The group that had turned to the Soviet side turned back to the Chinese side, and soon both countries were capitulated. In this peace treaty, we see Kurdistan getting a bit of expansion, as well as this Turkish puppet state, the Italians getting all of the coastline over here, the Egyptian puppet state of the Soviets getting the rest of the Sinai Peninsula, and then Syria and Iraq becoming Chinese puppets. Why is there like a random grey line in the middle of China? I'm just gonna like hashtag fix that. Oh right, I'm not actually on the right layer though, am I? Should be that layer? Oh my god, what layer am I on? There we go. Right. So, oh yes. Next of all, we will see the alliance of non-aligned nations expand into the rest of the non-aligned nations, I think. What actually did you... Oh, right. The USA annexed Jamaica and all of the Hispaniola island. Why are the Soviets back to invade? I don't even know. I'm so confused. Oh, okay. So that was the peace treaty slide. So this is the slide. Sorry, I'm not awake today. I'm not gonna lie. So Argentina will form a federation and join the non-aligned alliance. I'm just gonna call them that now because it's a lot simpler. And Sweden, Sweden, I can't brain this morning. And Switzerland will also join the non-aligned alliance. With this, practically all non-aligned nations of the world are now not non-aligned. There is practically none. I mean, there's a few of these islands out here, and and there's Timor, and I think that's about it. Oh, there's the Bahamas, which are somehow not annexed by the US, so the US is about to annex them. Aww, Bahamas get annexed by the US. Oh right, I have to click on the layer, don't I? I'm so goddamn dumb. And they will also manage to... No, they won't, because that's a Cuban island. I don't know what I'm on about today. My brain is just not awake. So yeah, this is our current world map. And next, we're going to have a bit of a natter about nuclear bomb. Okay, so, as I said, we're going to have a rant about nukes now. So, I think the first person to talk about nukes, because they developed nukes first, is the USA. So, in this universe, the USA has 4,000... Sorry, what? No, not 4,000. 400... No, I can't speak. 47,175 nukes. This is because they never stopped producing nukes. In our world, they capped in 1965, and then they stopped making them. But in this world, they just didn't stop, so they kept going. I just kind of made some estimates using averages and things. But I did actually take away 10% because the reason all of the troops from Europe and the Americans were in Japan was because the nukes dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki just were not at all as bad. And they just did not make the Japanese surrender at all. So they had to go on a full campaign through the home islands. And yeah, that led to the Soviets being able to push through Europe pretty quickly. So, yeah. But that led to the USA producing slightly less nukes because they didn't think they'd work as much. So, next up is the USSR, with the lead in nuclear weapons. The USSR has 49,588 nukes in this fictional scenario, as they gain an extra 10% for just being generally stronger, along with their actual real life total being pretty high. And yeah, so the next thing we're going to go on about. Oh, actually, I didn't think about the ultra nationalists. I'll do those in a second. I'll do them in a second, I promise. So, we have China. Right. China currently has 897 nukes in series. Now, this is because, right, the Chinese were aided by the Soviets in their nuke building program. So that times their nuclear output by 3. So they were absolutely cooking. And the last country that we are going to discuss is India, who is only 90 behind China but is in last with 807 nukes after being helped out by the USA. But yeah, now we're going to look at the ultra-nationalists' nukes. Okay, so the ultra-nationalist nuke results are in. So, Italy has 556 nukes, and Spain has 464. I based these off of the UK and France's production of nukes, because there wasn't really any actual data because they didn't actually have nukes. So the French nukes went to Italy, and the British nukes went to Spain, and then I added an extra 10% because they're ultra-nationalist countries would absolutely love to produce nukes. So yeah, I gave the French ones to Italy because the French ones, they actually don't get nukes until later, and the Italians didn't form until later, so they got less nukes at the start, but then they ended up with more nukes than the Spanish did. So yeah. But in total, that means that the world currently has 99,487 nukes. Is the world total of nukes. That is nearly 10,000 nukes. A lot more than in our timeline. The entire world could be blown to shreds at any moment. Right? So yeah, the Cold War is a lot more of a scary thing in this reality. However, the Cold War can't continue. There's no more non-aligned nations for them to influence. So yeah, that would mark the end of the Cold War and into a new era. World War 4 era. And so, on the on the 26th of December 1991, the day after Christmas, the Indians and the Chinese go to war after the issue of Timor-Leste is a thing. So, the Indonesians incorporate it into their country. And this is to the backlash of the USA, India, and both ultra-nationalist countries. The world stands on edge. Troops begin to move. Weapons are prepared. The stage is set for World War IV. But that will have to do it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.